The wind comes down the ridge like a living thing, a white wolf made of snow and broken glass, and it tears at my jacket until the zipper splits and the feathers inside swirl away like startled birds. I have been walking for 3 hours without feeling my toes, following a trail that exists only in the Park Service map. I can no longer unfold because the paper is frozen stiff. My research permit says I have 4 days to survey wolverine scat along the northern scarp, but the storm rolled in faster than the forecast allowed, and now every spruce looks the same and the sky has clamped shut above the treetops. I tell myself the cabin I spotted at dusk is closer than the truck, so I keep moving, one numb foot after another, until the trees thin and the ground drops away into a narrow valley where the wind suddenly stops as if it has been muzzled. The hush is so complete I hear my pulse knocking behind my ears. That is when I smell wood smoke and wet dog and something metallic that might be blood. Hey viewers, if unexplained mysteries fascinate you, hit subscribe. Now back to the story. He stands between two birches, a silhouette tall enough to scrape the low clouds, shoulders so broad they block what little twilight remains. I think hallucination, then bear, then man in heavy coat, but the eyes catch the last ember of daylight and throw it back at me with the patience of something that has already decided I am prey. He inhales once, slow, and the sound is louder than the wind, a rake of air through the lungs of something huge. My knees fold before I can stop them and I drop into the snow, cheek against the ice, waiting for teeth. Instead the shape steps forward, resolves into a man wearing wolf, fur so thick it swallows the sound of his movement. He towers bare-chested, the pelt draped over his shoulders like a cloak, and when he leans down the heat coming off his skin turns the snow between us to steam. His nostrils flare again, brushing my hair, my frozen neck, the hollow behind my ear where the pulse hammers. A low sound vibrates through his ribs, not a growl, not a word, something older, and I feel it in my bones more than hear it. Then he straightens, lifts me as if I weigh the same as the snowflakes still falling, and the forest tilts as he carries me downhill toward the orange glow I saw earlier. The cabin is built from whole logs chinked with something dark, maybe moss, maybe dried blood, and the door is only shoulder high for him so he has to duck. Inside, the air is thick with pine pitch and smoke and the animal musk that clings to everything he owns. A stone hearth dominates one wall, flames licking so high they lick the underside of the timber mantle. He sets me on a rug that turns out to be a bare hide, claws still attached, and when the warmth hits my frozen skin the pain is so sharp I whimper. He crouches, watching, elbows on his knees, fingers steepled like a man trying to decide whether to snap a trap or free the animal inside. His hair is black, long, tied with a strip of rawhide, and the firelight carrows shadows along the ridges of muscle that cord his arms and chest. A scar starts beneath his left eye, cuts through the beard, and disappears into the collar of the pelt. I try to speak, but my lips are numb, so I just stare while the feeling returns to my face in pins and needles. He rises, moves to a pot hanging on a hook, ladles something into a tin cup, and when he hands it over the smell is broth and wild onion and something darker, liver maybe. I drink because the heat is life and because refusing him seems like a bad idea. The cup rattles against my teeth. He watches until it is empty, then takes a blanket from a cedar chest, shakes it out with a snap that sends sparks flying and drapes it around my shoulders. The wool smells of cedar and wolf and man, and I pull it so tight my knuckles blanch. I wake sometime near dawn, the fire shrunk to coals, and he is gone. The cabin is one room, bed against the far wall built from peeled poles, mattress stuffed with something that smells like dry grass. Shelves hold mason jars of berries, bundles of dried meat, a row of knives with handles carved from antler. A single window faces east, ice ferned across the glass. My boots stand by the door, dried now, laces coiled like shed snakeskins. I stand, testing my legs, and the bare hide is warm under my bare feet, though the air is cold enough to cloud my breath. On the table sits a tin plate covered with a second plate, roasted roots and a slab of meat the color of garnets, juice already pooling. I eat with my fingers because I cannot find utensils and because hunger strips away manners. The meat is elk, seasoned with juniper, and it tastes like the forest distilled. When the door opens, I am licking grease from my thumb, and the sudden intake of cold air snuffs the lamp he carries, leaving only the coals. He enters, shirtless still, snow on his lashes, and the bulk of him seems to suck the remaining light toward his center. In one hand he holds a hair, fur on, in the other a hatchet. He stops when he sees me standing, nostrils flaring again, and for a heartbeat neither of us moves. Then he tosses the hair onto the table, crosses the room in 3 strides, and stops a foot away, close enough that I have to crane my neck. He smells of pine sap and cold iron and something wild that makes my stomach flutter. Without asking, he lifts the blanket, inspects my feet, presses a thumb into my ankle as if testing for swelling. His hands are calloused, warm, and when he exhales the sound is almost a sigh. When he speaks his voice is gravel rubbed with oil, low, deliberate. You are not frostbit. It is not a question, but I answer anyway. Thanks to you. His eyes are the gray of river ice in February, and they flick to my mouth, my throat, back to my eyes, measuring. You cross the ridge. Again, not a question. I nod. He releases my ankle, steps back, and the space between us feels colder than the storm outside. You will stay until the pass closes. He turns, hangs the hair from a hook, and begins skinning it with the hatchet, each strike precise, separating pelt from meat in one long peel. I watch the play of muscle across his back, the way the scar catches the ember light, and I understand that I am not a guest. I am a stray he has decided to keep until the snow decides otherwise. Days blur into a rhythm dictated by the storm and by him. He hunts at dawn and dusk, returning with blood on his forearms, snow in his hair, meat slung across his shoulders. While he is gone, I explore the boundaries of my cage. The cabin sits in a clearing no wider than a baseball diamond, surrounded by spruce so tall their tops vanish into the low sky. A path trampled by boots and paws leads north toward a frozen creek. South, the ground rises into a tangle of deadfall where wolf tracks stitch the snow. I try walking the perimeter once, but at 20 yards from the door, the hair on my neck lifts and I feel eyes between the trunks. I retreat, heart hammering, and do not stray again. Inside, I mend clothes, boil water, grind dried berries into paste that tastes like summer. He never speaks unless necessary, but his presence fills the room like smoke. At night he sleeps on the floor before the hearth, wrapped in the wolf pelt, and I lie in the bed listening to the slow drag of his breath, wondering if he is awake, wondering if the sound is a guard or a warning. One evening I wake to find him crouched beside me, elbow on the mattress, chin on fist, watching. The lamp is out, only coals left, and his eyes catch the red like twin embers. I do not scream. Something in the set of his shoulders tells me he has been there a while, patient. He reaches out, brushes a strand of hair from my cheek, the callus on his thumb catching on my skin. You smell like cedar and fear, he whispers, and the words are almost apologetic. I lie still, afraid to breathe, and after a long moment he stands, returns to his place before the fire. I taste copper and realize I have bitten my lip. The storm breaks on the 5th day, sky ripping open to reveal a moon so bright it turns the snow blue. I stand at the window, transfixed, and when he enters he carries something in addition to the usual haunch of venison, a pair of snowshoes woven from willow and rawhide. He sets them at my feet. You need to move or you will grow weak. The statement is blunt, practical, yet the gift feels enormous. We trek at twilight, him breaking trail, me following in the wide oval prints his boots leave. The air is sharp enough to carve lungs, but movement brings heat to my cheeks. He leads me along the creek, shows me where the moose have scraped bark, where the lynx crossed, where the wolves sang 2 nights prior. His voice is low, instructional, and I absorb every word because knowledge is power and because the cadence of it warms me more than the exercise. At the head of the valley, we stop beneath an overhang of rock. He lifts his face, sniffs, and the sound is almost contentment. This is the boundary, he says. Beyond, the pack claims territory. Within, I claim. He looks at me when he says it, and the moonlight silvering the scar makes him look cruel and solemn at once. I understand he is telling me the rules. I am safe here, but safety is conditional. On the way back, he pauses beside a fallen spruce, brushes away snow, and reveals a cache of gear. My pack, my camera, the bear spray I never had time to use. Everything is intact, even the memory cards. I stare, throat tight, and when I look up he is already walking away, giving me privacy to cry or to curse, I am not sure which. I do neither. I shoulder the pack and follow, snowshoes creaking like old bones. That night he builds the fire higher than usual, flames licking the height of my hip, and he sits on the bare hide, legs stretched, back against the bed frame. I sit opposite, blanket around my shoulders, the restored camera between us like an altar. He watches while I scroll through images, the Wolverine tracks I was paid to find, the storm rolling over the ridge, the shot of my own boot for scale. When I reach the last frame he leans forward, interested. It is a blurry close-up of wolf tracks, huge, splayed, the edges crisp in fresh snow. You were following us, he says, not accusing, merely stating. I nod. Research. His mouth twitches, almost a smile. You found more than you hunted. He rises, fetches a tin of honey from the shelf, returns. We eat it with fingers, passing the tin back and forth, licking sweetness from knuckles. The fire pops, sending sparks up the chimney, and the silence is comfortable for the first time. When the tin is empty, he sets it aside, wipes his hands on his thighs, and looks at me with something gentler than assessment. Tell me your name. The request is soft, almost shy, and it hits me that he has never asked. I hesitate, throat thick, then answer. Ilara, he repeats it, syllables rolling like he is tasting wine. Ilara. My name has never sounded like a prayer before. He shifts, stretches, and when his shoulder brushes mine, neither of us moves away. We sit while the logs collapse into ember, and when he finally rises to bank the fire, I feel the loss of his warmth like a physical wound. The next afternoon he returns early, face dark. Blood streaks his forearm, not all of it his. He says nothing, strips to the waist, washes in the basin, water turning rust. I fetch the tin of salve I found on the shelf, green and sharp smelling, and when I approach he stands still, lets me smear it along the slice above his elbow. The muscle beneath my fingers is hard, twitching, and when I press too hard he hisses. Sorry, I whisper. He catches my wrist, not painful, just stopping. Never apologize for healing. His eyes are stormy, distant, and I feel the tremor he suppresses. They crossed the creek, he says finally. 3 males, rogue, no territory, they smelled you. My stomach drops. He releases my wrist, steps back, and the distance feels like miles. They will come again. I start to speak, but he shakes his head, turns to the hearth, spine rigid. That night he does not sleep. I hear him pacing outside, snow crunching, the low rumble of growls that make the windows vibrate. I lie in the bed, eyes open, counting heartbeats until dawn. He trains me after that, no discussion. We start with breathing, inhale through the nose, taste the air, separate pine from fox from fear. He stands behind me, hand on my ribcage, correcting until I can identify the faint musk of marten in the underbrush. We move to sound, mimic the owl to call him, the jay to warn, the raven to question. My voice cracks at first, embarrassing, but he never laughs, only demonstrates again, throat flexing, sound rolling out perfect. On the 3rd day he teaches me to move. Place the foot, roll the weight, leave no print. He demonstrates, vanishing into the spruce, returning silent, snow unmarked. When I try, I leave a crater. He shows me again, patient, until I manage 3 steps before the twig snaps. We end with sight, find the twitch of ear, the shift of shadow, the breath that fogs. I improve, muscles aching, pride swelling. Each evening he inspects my progress, eyes critical, mouth twitching when I succeed. One dusk I spot the outline of a lynx crouched on a limb before he does. When I point he follows my finger stills, then looks down at me, and the pride in his gaze warms me more than the fire we build together. That night he sleeps inside, back to the door, wolf pelt spread like a shield. I lie awake listening to the rhythm of his dreams, the occasional whimper that makes me want to touch him, though I do not yet dare. The breach comes on the 10th night. I am outside gathering kindling, moon obscured by cloud when the stink hits. Sour male, rage, hunger. I drop the wood, heart kicking, and behind me the spruce rustle though no wind moves. I whistle the jay, warning twice sharp. A shape explodes from darkness, wolf but wrong, ribs showing, eyes yellow, mouth foaming. I back toward the cabin, fumbling for the knife he strapped to my hip, but the rogue is faster, closing, breath hot on my thighs. At the last second I remember, I scoop a handful of snow, packed with the crushed yarrow I picked earlier, and fling it into the snout. The beast sneezes, shakes, momentarily blind. That is all the time needed. A roar splits the night, deeper than anything mortal, and the alpha erupts from the cabin doorway, man no longer, fur bursting along skin, jaw elongating, claws carving snow. They collide like boulders, rolling, snarling, the sound tremendous. I scramble aside, knife out, useless. The rogue is big, but the alpha is bigger, ancient, furious. Teeth flash, fur rips, blood steams on snow. I smell iron, pine, the acrid release of fear. When the rogue lunges for me again, the alpha intercepts, catches the throat, shakes once, twice, until the body goes limp. He drops it, chest heaving, muzzle dripping, and turns. His eyes are silver now, glowing, and for a heartbeat I do not know which of us he sees. I stand still, blade lowered, breath clouding. He takes one step, 2, then shifts back, skin rippling, fur receding, until the man stands before me streaked with gore. We stare, the night suddenly quiet. Then I am moving, closing the distance, arms around his neck, face buried in the sweat of his throat. He stiffens, surprised, then folds around me, chin on my crown, shaking with adrenaline. You used what I taught, he rumbles, voice rough. I nod against his skin, his arms tighten. I thought I lost you, he whispers, so low I almost miss it. I pull back, look up, and the raw fear in his eyes breaks the last wall inside me. I rise on tiptoe, brush my mouth to the corner of his, tasting salt and copper. He stills, breath catching, then angles his head, taking my mouth fully, desperate, claiming. The kiss is hunger and relief and the iron tang of blood, and when we part we are both trembling. He rests his brow to mine. The forest will run red before I let them take you, he says, voice like gravel, and the vow settles into my bones like fire. Inside he builds the fire until the cabin glows and we strip wet clothes, skin to skin, sharing heat. He inspects me for wounds, lips brushing every scratch, every bruise, until I am gasping. When he lifts me, thighs around his hips, I feel the length of him, hard, urgent, and the world narrows to the heat between us. He carries me to the bed, lays me on the wolf pelt, and the scent of us mingles, cedar and musk and woman. He lowers his head, drags his nose along my throat, inhales, growls low. Mine, he says, voice more wolf than man. I answer by arching. Offering throat, offering everything. His growl vibrates through my sternum, a sound that claims more than skin. He nips the tender hinge of my jaw, not hard, just enough to brand, then soothes the sting with his tongue. My breath fractures. I feel the prick of claws at my hips half shift, restraint fraying, and the thrill spikes through me, bright and reckless. Say it, he demands, voice shredded. Say you're mine. Can't, the word sticks behind my teeth, a mute stone. Instead, I drag his hand to the place where my pulse riots. His eyes flare silver, and he understands. I will never speak the vow, but my body sings it. He groans like a man breaking open, lowers his mouth to my breast, draws the nipple in, rough then tender, until I am writhing against the pelt, fur soft on my back, him hard above me. Time distorts seconds or centuries. We move together, learning the language of gasps and grazes. When he finally slides inside, slow, relentless, the stretch burns sweet, and I claw his shoulders, anchor myself. He stills, forehead pressed to mine, letting me adjust around the thick invasion. His control is a live wire. I feel it in the tremor of his thighs, the clench of his jaw. Look at me, he rasps. I open eyes I don't remember closing. The ice in his gaze has melted to stormwater, and in it I see the reflection of the guardian wolf pacing behind my ribs, tail brushing my heart. Recognition flashes, wolf knowing wolf, and something inside me unlatches. The spirit I carry surges, golden warmth flooding my blood. He feels it, his pupils blow wide, a gasp tearing from him as the bond snaps taut like a drawn bowstring. Ilara, my name is a prayer and a curse. He moves, hips rolling, and every stroke rubs the ache brighter, deeper. I meet him, rising, falling, until the cabin, the forest, the world dissolve into heat and friction and the drum of shared heartbeats. When I come, it is with a silent cry that arches my spine like a drawn bow. He buries his face in my neck and follows, pulsing, growling my name into my skin until we collapse, slick and shaking. We lie tangled while the fire settles into ember glow. Snow taps the roof, a lullaby. He traces idle circles on my shoulder, lips brushing my temple. I feel the question in his fingertips, why no voice, but he doesn't ask, and I love him for the mercy. Instead, he pulls the pelt over us, tucking me against his chest, and for the first time since the blood moon I sleep without dreams of drowning. Dawn creeps gray through the shutters. I wake alone in the bed, sheets cooling. Panic spikes until I send him pine smoke, salt wolf lingering on the pillow. I sit, clutching the pelt to my breasts, and see him outside the window, standing bare-chested in new snow, hauling the rogue's carcass toward the tree line. Ravens circle, waiting. He moves with lethal economy, muscles rippling despite the cold. I watch, throat thick with something too large for silence. He returns, wipes blood on his trousers, meets my eyes through the glass. For a heartbeat, the wild stares back, then he offers a small, weary smile that cracks my chest open. I dress his shirt, my leggings, and meet him on the stoop. He pulls me close, chin atop my head, and we breathe together, sharing lungfuls of crisp morning. Pack's coming, he says quietly. They scented the kill. Fear needles me. The pack never approved my presence. They left me to die in Moonfen Bog. He feels my flinch, strokes a thumb down my spine. They'll obey, he murmurs, or blade. I tip my face, search his eyes. Are you certain? I want to ask, but words remain locked. He kisses my forehead, firm, possessive. Together. We prepare. He sharpens the bone-handled knives. I grind willow bark, feverfew, the last of the yarrow, packing them into leather pouches. My fingers know the work, steady, though my stomach jitters. When the first howl threads the air low, questioning, he straightens, nostrils flaring. Stay inside until I call. A command, but his hand cups my cheek, thumb brushing the hollow beneath my eye where bruises bloom. I nod. He kisses me once hard, then strides into the clearing, naked, shifting mid-stride. Fur explodes, bones lengthen, and the massive black wolf that rules these woods shakes out his pelt, lifts his muzzle, and answers with a roar that rattles snow from branches. I peer through the cracked door. Wolves emerge, 6-7, ribs sharp beneath winter coats, eyes glowing amber and green. They fan out, ears flattened, tails low. The alpha stands atop the woodpile, head lowered, hackles bristling. A younger wolf, gray with a torn ear, creeps forward, belly scraping snow. Submission. One by one the others follow, rolling shoulders, baring throats. The alpha accepts, scenting each nape, reaffirming borders. The pack circles, restless but deferential. Then she appears, a silver female, lean, scar from eye to muzzle, Lyra the beta who dragged me to the bog. She lingers at the edge, lips wrinkling. The alpha's growl slices the hush. She lowers but doesn't grovel, eyes flicking toward the cabin. I feel the weight of her stare even through wood and distance. A challenge unspoken. The alpha lunges. They clash, snow spraying, snarls ripping the morning. He outweighs her, but desperation lends her speed. Teeth flash, fur flies red on white. I grip the doorframe, splinters biting my palm, heart battering ribs. The pack watches, tense, neutral. This is law, challenge accepted, blood for blood. She manages a shallow bite to his shoulder before he pins her, jaws clamping her throat. She whines, struggles, then stills, belly up. He holds a beat longer, dominance clear, then releases, backing off with stiff legs. She scrambles up, shakes, blood dripping from torn ear. With one last glance at the cabin at me, she slinks into the trees. The others follow, melting into forest shadow until only the alpha remains, chest heaving, steam curling from open jaws. He shifts, stands human, bleeding but triumphant. Out, he calls, voice rough. I step onto the stoop, snow cold on bare ankles. He meets me halfway, lifts my hand, presses it over the bite on his shoulder. Warm blood seeps. I frown, pull him inside, sit him by the fire. He lets me fuss, eyes never leaving my face while I clean the wound, pack it with crushed herbs, bind it with a strip torn from my shirt. When I finish, he catches my wrist, kisses the pulse. She won't try again, he says. They know now. Know what? That I'm yours, that I carry their guardian. The questions ache behind my teeth. He sees, brushes a knuckle along my jaw. They feel the spirit in you. It confuses them, frightens them. I drop my gaze, frightens me too. The wolf inside me stirs, restless, pressing against bone, wanting to answer in growls I can't form. He pulls me onto his lap, wraps arms around my waist, rests cheek between my breasts. I feel the tremor in him, exertion, pain, something deeper. I failed her, he murmurs. The pup, my first, I let the curse take root. My fingers find his hair, comb through thick strands. You haven't lost her yet, I want to say. Instead, I tilt his chin, kiss him soft, pouring promise into it. He sighs, melting against me, and for a while we let the fire speak. But the forest is never quiet for long. Midday brings the scent of smoke, not hearth fire, but bitter, acrid. He lifts his head, nostrils flaring. Hunters. We move, he dresses, straps knives, pulls on the wolf pelt cloak. I gather my satchel of herbs, the pup's tiny blanket woven with protective runes. The guardian wolf inside me paces, claws scraping my insides, urging. We leave the cabin, follow the creek toward the Moonfen bog where the pup was abandoned, where the curse took hold. Snow slows our steps, brambles snag my sleeves. Overhead, clouds bruise purple. Halfway we find the first trap, steel jaws hidden beneath leaves, baited with rabbit guts. He disarms it, snarling, and I see the sig carved into the metal, a broken crown, usurpers, rogues who want the throne weakened, pup dead, my stomach knots. We push on, the forest grows hushed, animals fled, even ravens absent. The ashen thicket looms, fog curling between trunks like ghost breath. Time warps here, minutes stretch or shrink. I feel it in the way my heartbeat stutters, in the way shadows lag behind movement. He grips my hand, anchoring me. At the edge of Moonfen bog the air thickens, reeks of rot and mineral. Ice crusts the reeds, black water glints beyond. The pup's scent ling faint, mingled with despair. We search, find the hollow beneath the fallen cedar where he left her wrapped in his shirt. Empty, only blood-specked snow and clawed earth. He drops to one knee, fingers brushing the stains. His shoulders rise, a silent roar. I kneel, press palm over his, offer what comfort I can. The guardian wolf inside me howls, sound echoing in my skull, and suddenly I feel a tug northwest toward the hollow den. I tug his sleeve point. He understands, eyes narrowing. We run. Fog clings, distorts direction, but the pull inside me is compass. Branches whip my cheeks, cold burns lungs. The den entrance yawns ahead, jagged stone maw dripping with moss. Inside, torches flicker, already lit. Someone inside. He sniffs, lip curling. Witches. We descend the carved steps, boots echoing. Runes glow faint on walls, sensing the guardian's nearness. The air warms, thick with ember smoke and old magic. At the central chamber we stop. They wait, 3 women draped in crow feathers, faces chalk white, eyes black as starless sky. Between them lies the pup, tiny gray, ribs fluttering with rapid breath. Her eyes are open, glazed, the curse darkening her gums. My heart lurches. The tallest witch lifts a hand. The vessel arrives. The alpha steps in front of me, growl rumbling. Release my daughter. She is past saving Wolfking, but the spirit you carry, she nods to me, can ease her passing. Give us the guardian and we end her pain. Lie, I feel it, taste sour decay. They want the spirit for themselves, to wield, to sell. The guardian snarls inside me, rejecting. I step forward, place hand on his arm. He glances down, I meet his eyes, let him see my certainty. We fight. He smiles, feral, and shifts mid-leap. The chamber erupts, wolf against witch, claws against spell. I dart to the pup, cradle her to my chest. She whimpers, tongue gray. I press my forehead to hers, reach inward, coax the guardian. Golden light floods my palms, pours into her small frame. She jerks, coughs, then lies still, breathing easier, gums pinking. Behind me magic cracks, stone shudders. One witch lies torn, blood-soaking runes, the others chant, weaving shadow. The alpha falters, caught in threads of darkness. I set the pup gently, rise, let the spirit surge. My skin ripples, bones ache, but I do not shift, instead I open, become conduit. The guardian wolf bursts forth, spectral, huge, eyes like twin suns. It lunges, rips the spell apart, sends witches flying. They hit walls, bones snapping, and the shadows dissolve. Silence falls, broken only by panting. The spectral wolf stands over me, protective, then slowly fades, settling back into my skin like warm rain. I drop to my knees, exhausted but whole. The alpha crawls to me, human again, bleeding from ears, eyes wild. Ilara. He gathers me, kisses my hair, my face, checking for hurt. I lean into him, trembling. The pup whines, he scoops her, tucks her against his chest where she nuzzles, sleepy but alive. Tears, his, mine, fall onto her fur. We ascend, leaving corpses for the dark. Outside, twilight bleeds across snow. The forest feels lighter, curse lifted. At the cabin he builds up the fire, wraps us both in the wolf pelt, pup curled between. We sleep, 3 hearts beating in sync. Morning brings new quiet, fragile. I wake to find him watching me, ice eyes soft. He brushes hair from my cheek. Stay, he says, be my heart, my voice, rule beside me. I touch my throat, shake my head. He catches my hand, kisses fingertips. Then I will learn your silence as you learned my beast. I smile, tears blurring the room. Outside, snow begins to fall again, covering tracks, covering blood. Inside, the fire crackles, the pup stirs, and the man who was once a monster traces love letters on my skin without words. I am mute, but the forest hears me. I am thief, but I gave back life. I am his, and he is mine, and in the space between heartbeats, the guardian wolf curls content, finally home. Snow taps the window like small claws, steady, insistent. I lie still beneath the pelt, listening to the 3-beat rhythm, his heart mine, the pup's tiny flutter between. His fingers move across my ribs, tracing the rune-shaped bruise where the guardian wolf pressed against my lungs. Each pass soothes the ache but stirs another, the need to speak, to answer him, to promise. I can't. My throat holds only breath. The pup squeaks, stretches her needle claws against my belly. He chuckles into my hair, a low rumble. She's hungry. I slip from the bed, bare feet on cold planks, and lift her. She latches to the makeshift bottle, goat milk warmed by the fire, mixed with the last of the colt's foot for her lungs. Her ears twitch, her tail, still crooked from the curse, wags once. Triumph. He watches me feed her, propped on an elbow, wolf pelt sliding low on his hips. Snowlight paints silver across the scars on his chest, newest one livid from the witch shadow threads. I feel his gaze travel the line of my spine, the curve where waist meets thigh. Not hunger, possession, wonder, fear that I might vanish. I turn, let him see I'm still here. His shoulders relax. A howl threads the wind, distant but clear, not threat, acknowledgement. The pack sense the change, the lifted curse, the guardian settled. He lifts his head, answers with a softer sound in his chest. They'll come soon, he says. They'll want to see her, you. His eyes flick to me, uncertain. I can keep them back if. I shake my head, they need to see. I carry their history in my marrow now. Hiding would only seed another war. I mouth 2 shapes he has learned, let them. His jaw tightens, then he nods. Together, then. We ready the cabin. I sweep herbs into satchels, bundle dried yarrow and lungwort for the pup, knot them with red thread. He dresses, black leathers, the silver wolf clasp at his throat. While he braids his hair, I knot a strip of leather through my own, securing the small river stone he gave me the first night he dragged me here, when I still thought he meant to kill me. The stone warms against my collarbone. The fire settles to embers. I tuck the pup inside my coat, her head poking out, gray ears soft as moth wings. He lifts the bar, opens the door. Snow has stopped, the world glitters pristine. A dozen wolves wait at the tree line, some in fur, some in skin, all eyes on me. I feel the guardian rise, golden ripple beneath my skin. The wolves' lower ears, tails, throats bared, not to me, to what I carry. He steps forward, voice carrying the authority of cracking ice. The curse is broken, my daughter lives, the guardian has chosen a new vessel. Breath clouds in front of his face. Any who challenge her claim, challenge me. Silence answers, thick as snowfall. Then one by one they bow, some dropping bellies to snow, some bending knee. Acceptance, uneasy but real. The gray female who challenged me last night pads forward, head low. She stops an arm's length away, amber eyes on mine. Blood still crusts her torn ear. She lowers further, belly up this time, throat exposed. Not surrender, apology. I kneel, place the pup between us. The pup sniffs, licks the wolf's muzzle. A soft whine, almost like laughter. The gray wolf's eyes close. She rolls upright, touches her nose to my wrist. Pack. He exhales behind me, tension unwinding. Then it is done. He lifts the pup, sets her on his shoulder where she clutches fistfuls of his hair. We return to the hollow den at dusk. Feast, naming. He looks to me. You will stand at my side when they swear. I nod, but my stomach tightens. A feast means voices, questions I can't answer, stories I can't tell. My silence will be loud in that echoing chamber. He sees, fingers finding mine. They will learn your quiet as I have, one breath at a time. The pack disperses, melting into spruce shadow. He pulls me back inside, shuts the door. For a moment we simply breathe, 3 heartbeats again. Then he lifts me, sits me on the table, pushes the coat from my shoulders. The pup curls on the blanket by the fire, drowsy. His mouth finds the hollow of my throat, murmurs, I need to taste that you're still real. I arch into him, fingers threading his hair. His hands map me, collarbone, breast, waist, claiming without urgency. When he lifts me, carries me to bed, the wolf pelt welcomes us. We move slow, speaking in sighs and shivers. I trace the fresh bite on his shoulder with my tongue. He groans, presses deeper. The guardian watches through my eyes, approves, remembers old matings beneath moon. When we peek, it is together, breath caught between our mouths. After we drowse, limbs tangled. I dream of running, four paws, not two, snow flying beneath. The guardian runs beside me, not inside me, separate. It nudges my shoulder, points muzzle toward the ashen thicket. Unease prickles. I wake with a start. Afternoon light slants through shutters, turning dust motes to sparks. He dresses, straps knives. I must scout the borders. The hunters who served the witches may have left scouts of their own. He kisses my brow. Bolt the door, keep the pup close. I catch his sleeve. He pauses, reads my face. What do you feel? I press palm to chest, then point northwest toward the thicket. He exhales. The guardian warns you. A pause, jaw clenching. I won't be long. If anything comes, break the runestone. He taps the river stone at my throat. A thin crack runs through it now, filled with his blood from our first night. If crushed, it will summon him, no matter the distance. I nod. He kisses me once more, fierce, then slips outside. I bar the door, heart ticking. The cabin feels smaller without his bulk. I hum soundlessly, a lullaby my mother used to pulse through my back when she held me. The pup watches, eyes wise. I settle cross-legged, lay out herbs, monkshood, wormhood, dreamroot. I need clarity, a thread through the fog the thicket weaves. I chew a single leaf bitter, then spit into the bowl, grind the rest into paste. The room tilts, colors bruise. I close eyes, reach inward. The guardian meets me, tail plumed, eyes sunbright. It turns, trots toward a gap in my thoughts. I follow. We emerge onto a moonwhite plain. Ahead stands the thicket, trunks black as char, fog writhing. Among the trees, shapes, hunters in crowbone masks carrying iron cages. Inside one, a small gray pup that isn't mine. Illusion, warning, the guardian snarls. I feel time snag again like cloth on thorns. One hunter lifts a cage, hurls it into the bog water. The pup sinks, my heart screams. I lunge, but the guardian catches my sleeve, shakes great head. Not real, not yet, possible. I understand, a vision of what they plan if they cannot reach us here. They will bait us with another innocent, draw us into the thicket where minutes can kill. I snap back to the cabin, gasping. The bowl has overturned, green paste smeared across planks. The pup whimpers, crawls into my lap. I clutch her, trembling, footprints in the snow outside, not his, too light. I sniff iron, crow feathers, my stomach drops. They're already here. I move. I bundle the pup inside my coat, strap herb satchel, crush a sprig of wolfsbane so its acrid scent masks ours. I ease open the back shutter, drop into drifts. Forest shadows stretch long. I follow our old trail toward the den, but veer east toward the runestones that mark sanctuary, if I can reach them before the hunters circle. A twig cracks ahead, I freeze. Through underbrush, a mask peers, beaked, feathered. The hunter lifts a cage, shakes it. A pup's cry answers, thin, desperate, not mine. Still my heart ruptures. The guardian snarls, presses forward. I clamp it down, trap. I retreat, but another hunter steps behind, blocking toward the cabin. I shift direction, sprint downslope toward the frozen creek. Snow explodes under my boots. The pup clings, whining. Behind, masks give chase, silent except for the rattle of cages. They want me to see, to hear, to turn. I break onto the ice. My weight sends spider cracks racing. I slide, arms windmilling, then dash for the far bank. A hunter follows, the ice gives. He plunges into black water, scream muffled by mask. I don't stop, blood pounds in my ears. Ahead, the leaning stone that marks the den's back tunnel. I dive into the thicket of bramble, feel thorns snag hair, skin, warm blood beads, freezes. The tunnel mouth gapes dark. I slip inside, press back against rock. Footsteps pass, crunching snow. I count breaths, 10, 20. Silence. I creep deeper, fingers brushing runes. They flicker, recognizing guardian essence, welcome. The air warms, smells of ember and moss. I reach the central chamber, drop to knees, shake. The pup licks my chin. I set her on stone, check for hurt, none. Relief buckles me. Where is he? I feel the tug of the bond, distant, moving fast. He's circling, hunting them. I must hold. I crush the river stone between palms, sharp pain, blood beads. The splinter of rock warms, pulses once. He knows. Come, I pace. Torches throw shadows that dance like witches. My mind races. The vision, another pup stolen, cursed bait. How many have they taken? I move to the pup's blanket, unfold the protective runes. They're dim. Power drained, I feed them, crushed yarrow, drop of my blood, whisper of will, they glow faint, enough. Footsteps echo from the main stair, heavy booted. I scoop the pup, press into a crevice, torchlight spills. A lone figure steps into view, hair white as snow, eyes silver, not mask alpha, my knees weaken. He scans, sees me, strides, I emerge, blood streaks his arms, not his. He cups my face, thumbs tears I didn't feel. Alive, his voice cracks, he kisses me hard, tasting of iron and pine. They dared come. I nod, pull back, touch his lips, shake head. Now words, I press fingers to his chest, then mine, together. He understands, jaw setting. Then we end it. He lifts the pup, tucks her inside his shirt. The pack circles the thicket, we drive them toward the rune trap. His eyes glint feral, But first, he pulls a crow mask from his belt, snaps it between hands, wood splintering. I wear their skin. I shudder, nod. He strips, shifts partially, fur ripples across shoulders, claws sprout. He smears ash on my cheeks, braids my hair with crow feathers taken from the broken mask. Disguise, I swallow bail but stand. The guardian rises, lending height, weight, golden shimmer. We become what they fear, we emerge into twilight. Snow has begun again, thick flakes swirling. He leads, bare feet silent. I follow, heart hammering. At the thicket edge we split. He circles left, I right, pup silent against my heart. The fog welcomes, time stretching like taffy. Minutes slow, sounds distort. I hear my mother humming, though she's 10 years dead. I clench teeth, push on. Shapes appear between trunks, hunters 6, 7. They carry cages empty now. They speak in whispers like rustling leaves. The vessel will come for the whelp. Take her before the guardian wakes. I smile behind mask, step forward. They see my disguise beckon. I move into their circle. One lifts a cage, shakes it, empty. He frowns. I reach into my satchel, palm powdered wolfsbane blow, cloud bursts in his face. He reels, choking. I drop the mask, let guardian surge. Golden wolf form explodes outward, spectral but solid enough. Claws rake, cage bars snap. Hunters scatter, shouting. From the left, a roar answers. He crashes through underbrush, massive, white-furred, eyes burning. He tears 2 hunters apart before they finish screaming. The rest flee toward the heart of the thicket, toward the rune trap we laid at dawn. We pursue 2 wolves running, though only one of us is fur. We drive them deeper. Time warps, branches reach like arms, roots snatch ankles. Snow vanishes, summer leaves appear, then wither to autumn in breaths. I feel the guardian anchor me, keep me straight. Ahead the clearing opens, stone altar black with old blood, runes carved in snow glow faint, waiting. The hunters stumble into center. He and I circle, closing. They realize, turn, masks cracked, eyes white with fear. One lifts a crossbow, aims at the pup inside my coat. I shift, take the bolt in shoulder. Pain flares, but the guardian absorbs the worst. I snarl soundless, but he hears, sees blood, loses reason. He shifts to man, lifts the nearest hunter, smashes him against altar. Bones crack. He repeats, wordless until nothing moves. Snow falls, erasing footprints. Silence. I sink to knees, vision blurring. He catches me, rips the bolt free, presses palm over wound. Heat spreads, his life sealing mine. The pup crawls from coat, licks blood from my fingers, whimpers. It's done, he says, voice raw. They're done. He kisses my brow, cheeks, lips, tasting tears, blood. Hold, Alara, stay. I smile, touch his face. I am here, we are here. Snow begins to cover us, gentle shroud. The guardian curls inside, satisfied, tired. I feel it settle, fuse deeper, no longer foreign but part of bone. The forest exhales, time resumes its proper pace. We rise, he carries me, though I protest silently. At the thicket edge the pack meets us, wolves, humans, eyes bright. They see blood, victory, survival. They sing low and mournful, song of ending. We walk through them, not past them. They close behind, escort. Back at the cabin he builds the fire high, strips us both, washes me with warm cloth. I do the same for him. We stitch the bolt gash, smear honey, bind. The pup sleeps between our legs, fat belly up. Outside, wolves keep watch, shadows against snow. When the fire settles, he cups my face. The feast awaits, but first, he reaches beneath pillow, draws out a leather cord strung with 2 small objects, the broken river stone and a single milk tooth from the pup. A token, you hold my heart, my heir, my guardian. Will you stand beneath moon with me, silent or no? I take the cord, tie it around my throat beside the larger stone, then I rise, draw him to the doorway. Snow has stopped, moon breaches clouds, silver on white. I stand in its light, let it wash me. The guardian lifts its head, howls through my mouth, soundless to ears but thunder to souls. The pack answers, song rising, rolling across forest. He stands behind, arms around my waist, chin on my head. Then let them hear us. I turn, kiss him soft. Outside, wolves sing. Inside, the fire, the pup, the man, the guardian, the woman, all one. I am mute, but the moon speaks for me. I am thief, but I gave back life. I am his and he is mine, and in the space between heartbeats the forest finally exhales, content. Snow still clings to the eaves when the first howl of morning lifts, thin, questioning not the victory song we raised hours ago but something rower. I feel it in my teeth. The alpha tenses behind me, breath catching as though the sound pries open a wound he thought clotted. His arms tighten, not possessive, protective. The pup stirs between us, yips at the echo, then settles, tiny heart drumming against my ribs. He presses his brow to my nape. They found the bodies. I turn in the circle of his arms, sign against his chest, bodies, 3 we left in the thicket. The pack dragged them to the clearing at dawn. His voice is smoke over ice. They want justice, my justice. Justice in the king's tongue is a blade. I saw that the first night I trespassed. I trace the hollow of his throat, feel the growl building, and sign again. They want to see me burn. They want to see me break. His eyes flick to the window, storm gray. but the law is clear. Any outsider who witnesses the blood right dies. You lived because I willed it, because he stops, jaw muscle jumping, because I could not watch you die. I rise, drag the blanket with me, knot it under my arms. The fire has burned to embers, the cabin feels suddenly smaller, planks shrinking. He watches me pace, predator still. My shoulder aches where the bolt clipped bone, but the flesh has already knit, guardian silk beneath skin. I sign, I will speak for myself. You can't. The words are soft, almost apology. Your voice is gone, little ghost. They will not listen to hands. I bare my teeth. He exhales through his nose, stands. Sunlight slices across the scars on his back, white ridges, stories he never tells. Then I will speak for both of us. He catches my wrist, thumb brushing the leather cord at my throat. But first we end the curse on my daughter. The guardian chose you. Finish what the ritual began. The pup, his daughter, tumbles from the pallet, lands on tiny paws, sneezes. Silver fur glints where the curse once blackened her veins. She is not whole. At night she still whimpers and the runes on her belly flicker, starved. She needs the final binding, blood of the thief who stole the guardian, blood of the king who let it be stolen. My blood, his. I nod, let the pack judge after, let them try. He dresses, leather, claw buckles, crow feathers braided into warlock. I pull on my old herbskin tunic, the one he stripped from me that first night, now washed and mended by unseen hands. It smells of pine and iron. He offers me a dagger, hilt first. For later, he says, if I fall, take her and run west. The Star Eaters roam beyond the ridge, but they fear the guardian more than they hunger. I slide the blade into my boot, sign, we fall together. His smile is quick, savage. Together, then. We step outside. The world holds its breath. Snow has begun to melt, dripping from furs like the forest bleeding clear sap. Wolves line the path, gray, black, one the color of winter wheat. They lower ears, not quite submission, not quite challenge. Their eyes flick to me, linger on the stone at my throat, then away. I feel the guardian rise, answer with a shimmer that dances over my skin like heat lightning. The wolves shuffle, whine. The alpha walks first. I follow one pace behind, pup cradled against my heart. The path winds to the clearing where yesterday's blood still blackens the altar. Pack members gather, warriors in half-shift, elders draped in wolfskins, children darting between legs. The air tastes of pine needles and old death. A circle opens, we stand inside. My pulse is drum, drum, drum. Elder Lick steps forward, beard braided with bone beads. His eyes are clouded but sharp. King of the ashen thicket, breaker of trespassers, keeper of the old law. He inclines his head, then turns to me. And the mute woman who wears our guardian like a second skin. A rumble rolls through the crowd. I meet their stares, let them see the golden shimmer beneath my pupils. Lix raises a hand. The law demands her life, yet she carries our hope. He gestures to the pup who peeks from my coat, curious, unafraid. The guardian chose, do we call the guardian traitor? No one answers. Snowflakes drift, melt on my lashes. The alpha's voice cuts the hush. I claim her life as mine. He draws the dagger from his belt, slices his palm, lets blood drip to the stone. By blood and by right, my claim, my mate, my queen. Gasps ripple, I feel them like slaps. Queen is a word the pack has not spoken since his mother died centuries ago. I want to turn, sign no, not that, but his free hand finds mine, squeezes warning. Lick studies the blood, the set of the alpha's shoulders. A king's claim may override the law if the pack survives the cost. The curse still gnaws your line. If the pup dies, your line ends. If the guardian revokes its favor, we perish. Then we finish the ritual, the alpha says. Here witnessed, bind the guardian fully to the air, let the thief pay the price. Thief, the word stings. I started this by breathing in a dying spirit I never meant to steal. I step forward, set the pup on the altar stone. She sits, tail curling, tongue lolling. I draw the dagger from my boot, offer it hilt first to Lix. He hesitates, then takes it. I sign, cut me, let the debt taste iron. Lix glances at the alpha who nods once, face stone. The elder presses the blade to my forearm. A line of fire blooms, blood beads, crimson on snow. I let it drip onto the altar, then lift the pup, smear my blood across her forehead, her chest, the soft place where runes flicker. She licks my wound, whines but stays. The alpha steps beside me, slices his own palm, adds his blood to the mix. The instant the two streams meet, the runes blaze. Light erupts, white gold blinding. The guardian tears free of my chest, a full wolf now, spectral immense. It throws its head back, silent howls shaking the clearing. Snow leaps upward, reversed gravity. Wolves yelp, crouch. The pup glows, suspended in the light, fur rippling like wind-touched flame. Pain sears through me, not wound but severance. The guardian is leaving, ripping roots from bone. I drop to my knees, scream without sound, mouth wide. The alpha catches me, holds me upright. Stay with me, he growls, almost done. The guardian circles the pup, tail brushing my cheek in farewell, then it leaps, merges with her small body. Light collapses inward, a star swallowed. The pup lands on stone, shakes once, eyes blazing gold. The runes settle under her skin like embers banked. She sneezes and sparks scatter. Silence, then a single wolf barks, tail wagging. Another joins, the sound swells, howls, yips, the song of pack reborn. I feel the emptiness inside me echo, vast, aching. Yet something new threads through, a tether fine but unbreakable, tying me to the pup, to the alpha, to every wolf in the clearing. I am no longer vessel, I am bridge. Lix lowers the dagger. The debt is paid, the guardian is bound, the line endures. He turns to the crowd. Challenge. None step forward, a few drop to one knee. Others follow until snow hides beneath bodies bent in fealty. The alpha raises his bleeding fist. Rise, pack of the thicket, the moon returns tonight and we hunt not as outlaws but as one. They rise, voices lifting again. I feel the sound wash through me, thin, hollow, but warming. The pup bounds into my arms, licks my chin, then scrambles to the alpha, climbs his chest, perches on his shoulder like a hawk. He laughs rough, unused, and the sound cracks something in my chest. Lix offers me the dagger, cleaned. Guardian bearer no longer, pack sister, queen if you accept. I take the blade, sheath it, then sign, I accept the pack. The man that I am still learning, he smiles, teeth white, words enough. Feast preparations begin. Wolves disperse, dragging logs, hauling carcasses, elk, boar, one massive bear. Children race, yipping in half-shift. The air thaws, smells of pine sap and blood turning to meat. I move to help, but the alpha catches my elbow. Not yet, his voice drops. There is one more thing. He leads me away from the clearing, up a hidden path to a bluff overlooking the thicket. The world spreads below, snow and evergreen, sky the color of tarnished silver. He sets the pup down, lets her tumble after a moth, then he faces me, eyes bright as frost fire. I told them you're mine, he says, but I have not asked you. He lifts my hand, traces the scar already fading. I am king, but I am also beast. I kill, I take, I do not ask. Snowflakes settle on his lashes. I wait, heart loud. He exhales. Ilara, my name sounds fragile in his mouth. Will you run beside me, not by force, not by law, by choice? Will you be my mate, my heart, my silence when the world roars? Tears blur the forest. I rise on toes, brush my lips to his, soft, asking. He trembles. I sign against his chest. I choose again and again, even when you snarl, even when I cannot speak. His kiss deepens, tasting of salt and smoke. The tether inside me sings. The pup crashes into our legs, growling at a butterfly. We break, breathless. Below, the pack lights torches, orange beads in twilight. He lifts the pup, offers her to me. I cradle her, feel her heart drum against mine, guardian content. Let them wait, he murmurs. The moon climbs, we have time. We sit on the bluff, legs dangling into sky, shoulder to shoulder. Wolves howl far off, a song of safe return. I lean into him, let the hush settle. For the first time since the blood moon, silence is not absence but answer. The forest breathes around us, and in its breath I hear my own voice, wordless, bright, alive. Snowmelt drips from the bluff's overhang, ticking against stone like a slow heartbeat. I watch each droplet catch torchlight below, orange, gold, gone, until the alpha's thumb brushes the inside of my wrist and every thought scatters. Stay, he whispers, as if I might dissolve. Let the pack spin without us a little longer. I tip my palm upward, answer with pressure. I'm here. The pup sprawls across our boots, belly up, legs twitching through a dream. The guardian's gold has sunk beneath her fur, only a faint shimmer left when she blinks. My chest feels similarly emptied, a lake at midnight, still reflective, unknown depth. Wind shifts, carries the scent of roasting meat and pine resin, the laughter of wolves. My stomach answers with an embarrassing growl. He arches a brow. Hungry, little mute. Little mute, the nickname should chafe. Instead it fits like a river stone worn smooth in my pocket. I nod. He rises, pulls me with him, and we start downslope through shadows that bend away from his presence. Where his bare feet touch snow, print steam. Halfway down, he stops. Listen. I do at first only the feast, drums, howls, crackle of bonfire, then beneath, a fainter rhythm, a rhythmic wrong, hoofbeats, steel, his head snaps east. Riders, human, the word tastes foul in his mouth. I sign hunters or throne-seekers paid in silver, either way they carry iron. He lifts the pup, presses her into my arms. Take her to the hollow den, the old runes will hide your scent. I clutch the warm bundle, sign, come with, I'll slow them, learn their numbers, ice eyes glitter, then I'll come for what's mine. He kisses me once, hard, possessive, brief, then leaps the path in a single bound, midnight coat flaring like wings. Gone, the tether inside me stretches, attenuates but does not break. I turn downslope, slipping on slushy stone, torches ahead, safety, yet every pace feels like betrayal. I reach the edge of the feast. Wolves spin in drunken circles unaware. I grab the nearest shoulder. Rix, a wiry scout, pressed 2 fingers to his lips, point east. His nostrils flare, scenting the wind. Alarm widens his eyes. He howls, a sharp, ascending note that cuts music dead. Warriors shift, claws extending. Elders herd children toward the longhouses. I sprint through the chaos, pup clutched tight. The hollow den's entrance yawns behind a fallen cedar, roots clawing sky. I slide down mud steps into darkness. Runes ignite at my presence, faint blue. The air warms, smells of peat and iron. I set the pup on a pallet of wolf pelts. She whimpers, noses my empty arms. I know, I breathe, voiceless, he'll return. Footsteps, Lix descends, beard damp with snow. Guardian bearer, he stops, corrects himself. Queen, the king. I sign, delaying them, need help. He grips his staff, knuckles white. The pack will answer. A snarl echoes from above, too close. Lix and I freeze. Boots scrape stone, then a human curse. They've found the den. I shove the pup into Lix's arms, push him toward the inner tunnel. He resists. You. I sign go. I can silence the entrance. He obeys, age lending urgency. I press palms to runes. They pulse, remembering my blood. The guardian may be gone, but the den still knows me. I whisper gratitude, then slam my bleeding forearm against the keystone. Runes blaze, stone grinds, the ceiling shivers, shedding grit. I back away as the entrance seals, a mouth closing on screams outside. Darkness complete. I feel my way along passages until torchlight blooms ahead. The nursery chamber where pups once tumbled now houses the pack's heart. Elders, mothers, the wounded. They look up, hopeful, afraid. I raise a hand, steady. A boom reverberates through rock, iron striking stone. Dust drifts, children whimper. The den was built to withstand siege, but hunters carry blasting powder. I kneel beside Lix. The pup gnaws his finger, unconcerned. I sign, need warriors inside. He nods, eyes distant, communing through pack bond. Moments later, Rix and 6 fighters slip from shadow, claws black. We hold the choke, Rix says, but the king. I touch my chest, shake my head. He's beyond my reach, all I feel is fraying tether. Another boom, cracks vein across the ceiling. Pebbles, then slabs, a rush of cold air, torches gutter. Through the breach pour humans, eyes gleaming behind iron masks. Rix howls, launches. Wolves follow, a tide of fur and fang. Steel meets claw, screams ricochet. I grab a fallen axe, weight unfamiliar. My role is herbs, healing, not war, yet the tether tugs, demanding. I scramble toward the fight. A hunter breaks through, sights the pup, raises crossbow. I throw the axe, it spins, chops his thigh. He collapses, cursing. I pounce, slam stone into his temple. Bone cracks, blood warms my knuckles. My first kill, the world tilts. Lix drags me off. Protect the air. I stagger back to the pup, press her to my thundering heart. She licks blood from my fingers, trusting. Around us, wolves fall, rise, fall again. We are outnumbered. A roar shivers the chamber, deeper than wolf, wilder than man. Through the breach leaps the alpha, coat shredded, eyes sun-white. He lands amid hunters, claws scything, bodies fly. Relief buckles my knees. He lifts his gaze, finds me across chaos, snarls, down. I drop, a crossbow bolt whistles overhead. He catches it mid-flight, snaps shaft, hurls fragments into shooter's throat. The tide turns, pack rallies behind their king. Hunters retreat toward breach, but he blocks their escape, a living storm. Blood paints the walls, mostly iron-scented. Minutes or hours compress. When the last heartbeat stills, silence feels deafening, torches sputter, smoke coils, the alpha stands ankle-deep in carnage, chest heaving, eyes fading back to winter blue. He searches until they land on me. I run, vault corpses, fling arms around him. He smells of sweat, gore, pine. His embrace lifts me off the ground, burying face in my neck. A shudder racks him, fear released. I sign against his back, never leave me again. He sets me down, cups my face. Never. Behind, wolves tend wounded. We count dead, 2 scouts, 1 elder, 5 pups. Grief hollows the air, the alpha's jaw hardens. We burn our kin at dawn, the hunters' bodies feed the bog. Lix approaches, leaning on staff. The throne seekers grow bold, they hired humans to avoid pack law. The alpha's growl rattles, then we remind them why wolves write laws in blood. He turns to me, lowers voice. The pup must leave the thicket, if they track her here once, they will again. I sign where, beyond the moonfin, there's a cave where my mother hid during the last war, runes older than the den. She'll be safe while we hunt those who signed the coin. My heart swells. I glance at the pup, she sleeps despite smoke, tiny fists clutching my hair, he follows my gaze. She'll need a guardian, a pause heavy, and I would have you with me, not trailing behind. I sign always, he kisses my brow, tastes of salt and iron. Rest what's left of night, we march at moonset. We exit the den as dawn bleeds across sky. Pyres rise, howls lift ashes of the dead. Snow falls again, gentle, covering footprints of war. I stand at the bluff, pup in sling, pack light, herbs blade, and a single sprig of winter wheat tucked behind my ear, wedding gift from Lix. The Alpha joins, wraps cloak around us both. Below, wolves extinguish last torches, ready for vengeance. He surveys them, then me. Once I claimed you by law. Now I ask, will you run with me beyond these borders, hunt shadows, heal the living? Snowflakes cling to his lashes like tiny white flags. I rise on toes, kiss him softly, sign against his lips. I choose the path, the man, the beast, forever. He exhales, forehead to mine. Then let the world beware, the Wolf King and his mute queen are coming. We turn east where Moonfen Bog steams beneath rising sun. Behind the ashen thicket breathes, safe for now. Ahead roads unknown, the tether inside me hums, no longer chain but compass. I step forward, he matches pace. The pup yawns, burrows, and somewhere deep the guardian's echo answers, paws already running. Snow crunches beneath my boots as we descend the bluff, each step a promise etched in frost. The Alpha walks beside me, his presence a living flame against the winter dawn. His hand finds the small of my back when I stumble, gentle, possessive, necessary. The pup stirs in her sling, making soft sounds of protest before settling again. Behind us, the pack's morning songs fade into distance, becoming memory. The path east winds through skeletal birches, their white bark scarred with claw marks declaring territory. My breath clouds before me, visible proof of life in this frozen world. The Alpha sets a brutal pace, but I match him step for step, my legs burning with familiar ache. 3 days ago, I would have been winded. Today, the guardian's strength hums beneath my skin, lending endurance I never possessed before. We travel in silence for hours, the forest changing around us. Pine gives way to cedar, then to the twisted, stunted trees that mark the bog's approach. The air thickens, grows heavy with the scent of decay and ancient magic. My skin prickles with recognition. This place knows me now, remembers the night I nearly died here with a dying pup in my arms. The Alpha pauses at the bog's edge, nostrils flaring. Something's different, he murmurs, voice rough with concern. The paths have shifted. I step closer to his warmth, studying the landscape. He's right, where once solid ground existed, murky water now stretches. The safe routes I memorized during my herbal foraging have vanished, replaced by treacherous new channels. The bog is alive, ever-changing, a maze that protects its secrets. I sign, the spirits are restless. They know war comes, he says, reading my gestures as easily as spoken words. They test us. He lifts the pup from my sling, cradling her against his chest. She wakes, tiny fingers finding his beard, tugging gently. Something softens in his expression just for a moment before his mask of determination settles back into place. Stay close, step where I step. We enter the bog and immediately the world transforms. Sound becomes muffled as if we're walking through water. The mist rises around us, thick and silver, carrying whispers in languages I almost understand. My bare fingers brush against reeds and they lean toward me, recognizing the guardian's touch. The spirits here remember what I carry, they part before us, creating a path that wasn't there moments before. The Alpha notices, his eyes narrowing. The bog yields to you. I shake my head, signing, not to me, to what I carry. He studies me for a long moment, something unreadable flickering across his features. Perhaps there's more than one reason I need you with me. We press deeper, following a route that seems to materialize beneath our feet. The guardian within me thrums with recognition. This was once hunting ground, sacred space where wolf and world met in ancient covenant. I can feel the weight of centuries pressing down, the accumulated memory of every creature that died here, every secret the bog has swallowed. An hour passes, maybe two, time moves strangely in Moonfen. The mist parts suddenly, revealing a small island of solid ground crowned by ancient stones. The Alpha's shoulders relax slightly. We're close. We climb onto the island and I see the cave mouth immediately, half hidden behind a curtain of hanging moss, its entrance carved with runes that predate the pack's written history. These symbols speak of older magic, deeper bonds. The air here tastes of copper and ozone, charged with power that makes my teeth ache. The Alpha sets the pup down on a bed of dry moss, then turns to me. My mother brought me here when I was barely older than her. He gestures to the cave. She said this place was older than wolves, older than the concept of Alpha. It was here before the first pack formed, and it will remain when the last pack fades. I move to the entrance, fingers tracing the runes. They pulse beneath my touch, responding to the guardian's essence within me. The cave beyond breathes, slow, steady, patient. I can feel its welcome, its recognition of what I carry. This place remembers the guardian wolf, remembers when such spirits walked openly in the world. The Alpha joins me, his larger hand covering mine on the stone. Will you help me prepare it? Together we work in practice silence, gathering dried grass for bedding, arranging stones for a fire circle. I unpack my herbs, feverfew for pain, woundwort for healing, dreamroot for sleep. The pup watches from her moss nest, occasionally crawling after interesting stones or bits of bark. Her energy seems stronger today, as if the guardian's presence within me feeds her somehow. When the basic shelter is complete, the alpha builds a small fire. The smoke rises straight up, disappearing into the mist that perpetually shrouds the bog. The concealment here is complete, he explains, settling beside me. Even pack bond can't penetrate these barriers. My mother chose well. I study his profile in the firelight, the sharp cheekbones, the silver threading through dark hair, the way his eyes constantly scan our surroundings even in apparent safety. The weight of leadership sits heavy on him, has carved lines into his face that weren't there when he was simply a man performing a desperate ritual beneath a blood moon. He catches me watching, and one corner of his mouth lifts. What is it? I sign. You look older. 3 days ago I was prepared to die for my pack, now I'm preparing to live for them. He reaches over, fingers finding mine. That's what you gave me. The fire crackles between us, casting dancing shadows on the cave walls. Outside, the bog breathes and whispers, keeping its secrets. The pup crawls into my lap, already heavy with sleep, her small body trusting completely in our protection. I rock her gently, feeling the steady rhythm of her heartbeat against my palm. She's stronger, the alpha observes, voice soft with wonder. When the curse took hold, she could barely breathe without pain. Now look at her. I press my lips to her downy hair, feeling the guardian's energy pulse gently between us. Not healing, nurturing, supporting the natural strength that was always there, buried beneath magical poison. I sign. She's a fighter, like her mother will be, he says quietly. The words hang between us, heavy with meaning. I look up to find him watching me with an intensity that steals my breath. The firelight turns his eyes to molten silver, strips away the layers of king and beast to reveal the man beneath. I claimed you by law because I had to, he continues, voice rough. I kept you because I couldn't let you go, but this, he gestures to the cave, the pup, the space between us. This is choice, yours and mine. I set the pup carefully on her bed of moss, then move around the fire. He watches me approach, still as winter, waiting. When I'm close enough to feel his heat, I reach up and trace the line of his jaw, the curve where human skin meets the memory of fur. His eyes flutter closed at my touch. My hands move in the space between us, signing slowly so he can follow. I choose the path, I choose the man, I choose the beast, but most of all I choose the father you are beneath the crown. His breath catches, and when his eyes open, they're bright with something that might be tears. I'm terrified, he whispers, the admission seeming to tear itself from his throat. Of failing her, of failing you, of discovering that everything I've built my life upon is just vanity. I take his face between my palms, pressing our foreheads together. The guardian within me reaches out, not with words but with presence, offering strength, understanding, the deep knowledge that comes from being part of something larger than any single life. He shudders against me, and for a moment I feel the full weight of his fear, his doubt, his desperate hope. Then his arms come around me, pulling me into the shelter of his body. We kneel there by the fire, wrapped around each other, while the pup sleeps and the bog whispers its ancient lullabies. His face buries in my neck, breath warm against my skin. Stay with me, he murmurs against my throat. Through whatever comes, when we hunt the throne seekers, when we face the council, when the pack questy.